AEW Double or Nothing 2024 match card and predictions. A triple main event on this show. Will Mercedes Moné become the TBS champion, defeating Willow Nightingale? We've got Swerve Strickland against Christian Cage for the AEW World Championship. And of course, Anarchy in the arena makes a return for Double or Nothing once again, which will be in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Arena. Let's go through the entire match card together, and then we'll go straight into the predictions. Howdy folks, how are we all doing? We are live. I'm running solo for this predictions video, so let me know your feelings in the comments below. For those watching live, you can share your predictions along with me. I'll be going through some of the matches fairly quickly though, so I won't go to you on every single match, but I will still give your comment a shout as well. If you're watching on delay, thank you very much. Make sure to drop in the comments as well your predictions for the show. Let's see if we match or if we disagree. Who's walking away with the jackpot or who will be leaving broke? Bit of a Vegas joke for you there, but let us know your thoughts and feelings anyway. Look forward to interacting with you. Like I said, there's 10 matches in total, so let's kick things off then. Going for the TBS Championship, that's right, Willow Nightingale will be defending the championship against Mercedes Moné. That's right, she is in AEW All Elite Wrestling. This match has kind of been built up over a year basically because of these two competing for the New Japan Women's Strong Championship. This was for the crowning the first champion. Everyone expected Mercedes Moné was going to be winning that. Of course, Willow Nightingale was the winner of this match, but one thing I suppose many people didn't expect was that Mercedes got badly injured during the match. So much so, she's not competed in ring since, and she's only been cleared to compete for the last week or so. So it's kind of interesting to see. It's her first match back. For many people that probably haven't seen a New Japan work, this may be the first time many are seeing Mercedes Moné in a wrestling ring for nearly 2 years. And for me, myself personally, I haven't seen the Mercedes Moné match since Battle at the Valley, which is actually going back about 15 months or so. Mercedes Moné did debut in AEW full-time at Big Business in Boston, Massachusetts in March. And of course, well, that was seen as a popular move by many, of course, coming out as the CEO. But of course, it's been, well, quite divisive since. Of course, she's done a lot of talking promos because she's still been ineligible to compete. She's not being cleared. So this has kind of left a lot of people think a bit sour. But one thing I can say of positivity is that everyone that's been around her, I think, has raised their profile, including one Willow Nightingale. Of course, she's won the TBS Championship from Julia Hart just recently. They've been continuing the story with Willow and Mercedes throughout, really, teasing heel turns, chair shots, all the sorts. And well, it's just got a bit personal in the last couple of meetings, including the last face-to-face they had on AEW Dynamite, where Mercedes Moné, who is cleared now, was put through a table, and it was quite a cool looking spot as well. So that's something I'm going to say quite positive about Mercedes Moné's debut. It has impacted and helped other people around her. And I think when she starts wrestling, I do think things will start to improve. But as it goes for a prediction, and for me personally, I'll say the prediction, and then I'm going to say what I want afterwards, because the prediction for me, of course, look, it's obvious. Mercedes Moné, I think, is going to walk away the TBS champion. It's her first match. She's a big deal, one of the biggest signings in AEW history, and obviously going to try and make sure that she's going to have that stock going into the summer season, perhaps with Forbidden Door coming up. We've got All In and Wembley once again. But for me, what I want, I actually want Willow Nightingale to win the match. Like I said, her stock and her profile has been risen so much. To make a full-on star out of her to win the match would be amazing. Not so easy for Mercedes Moné in AEW. That story could be there as she come back too soon, as the injury layoff hurt her. You can play with a bit of story from that, where otherwise it's just, well, where does Mercedes Moné go? She has to face someone from Stardom at Forbidden Door. We then build up a new feud for All In. So, you know, you see my point of view. I actually think that it'd be quite good, because Willow then can move on to other things. Perhaps you can have the rematch at All In when Mercedes has got herself, perhaps the ring rust has gone, got herself the opportunity to get back into the ring with Willow, and then do it at Wembley Stadium. That's something I'd like to see go down. But like I said, I don't think that's going to happen. And I do think Twitter X would have a meltdown as well if that happened, because they've not been too kind to Mercedes so far. I think if she loses this match on Sunday, I think that everyone will be saying she's been buried. It's been the worst decision ever, not going to WWE and coming here. So I think Mercedes is going to pick up the victory. But still, that's my opinion, and that's where I'm going to leave it from there. But look, she will pick up the W, and it'll be fun to see how it's going to play out. Let's go then into the comments. Then we'll get a few comments in and we'll go on to our second match, which will be Roderick Strong versus Will Ospreay. So do keep tuned for those that are watching live. We've got some big matches to discuss during this one. Do we feel the Elite storyline is overshadowing Swerve Strickland? Arguably, yes, because what I would say is I think Anarchy in the Arena is going to main event this show. It's not going to main event this stream. Swerve Strickland is going to get the rightful spot of this stream. It is going to be the main event spot. However, I do think Willow and Mercedes actually feels like it could be some match that could be worthy of main eventing the show as well. Serena Shultons to say that I feel like Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay at All In could be the AEW World Championship match and International Championship unification match. I like your thinking, CD. I like the unification idea. I was convinced this was the match for AEW All In. I've changed my tune, and I will explain in a couple of moments' time. But when I do that, hopefully I can give, as the video goes on, a better idea of what I think the all-in direction may be. But this is what I thought was going to happen. I've changed my mind seeing on the direction of AEW in the past few weeks. Eric Griggs in the house, hope you're doing well. Says, I hope Hater returns. I do as well. We're talking about Timeless Toni Storm. Honestly, it does feel like we're waiting for Hater to return. It is the first solo stream in a while. It's good to be here. It's good to have you all here as well. If you are enjoying so far, we've covered so far Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale. Make sure to hit that like button. Share this with friends as well. Subscribe and keep the comments coming in. It does help the algorithm. Yes, I know it's boring to say, but it does help a lot. Pac should be world champion by the end of his contract, says Eric Douglas. Do you know what, Pac, for me, I don't know what's happened. I don't see him in that level in AEW anymore. We did when he first started. I think we need to see more consistency, more time around in AEW, and certainly some more victories. But I'm looking forward to talking about Pac in that trios match. Certainly will be fun. But we've got some predictions here as well for the Mercedes Moné Willow Nightingale match. CD says it's predictable. Mercedes Moné is winning the TBS championship. It does feel like that's going to be the move. However, Eric does say I have Willow retaining, and I actually hope you are right. But I do agree with CD. I do think Willow Nightingale is a transitional champion here, but her stock has risen since the first match with Mercedes Moné. Of course, she's gone on to win the Owen Hart last year. I think that'll be announced, perhaps, that's going to be taking place over the next few weeks in AEW. I have to wait and see if that will happen this year. I'm sure it will. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how it will go down. I will move on in the meantime. Don't forget, I will go back to those comments that I've not read so far, but we're going to go into match 2 in the meantime. We're going to talk about Roderick Strong, the international champion, taking on Will Ospreay. That's right. He's all elite, bruv. That's my best impression. If I'm from where Will Ospreay's from, he's from Essex. I am as well. So it's kind of fun from the UK there. But yeah, Will Ospreay, for me, I said it a minute ago, I thought he was going to be in the all-in main event going for the AEW World Championship until this match was set. Will Ospreay became the #1 contender, winning when it was like a gauntlet match, wasn't it? It was a casino gauntlet match. So everyone was actually coming to the ring. If a pinfall took place, then that meant that person got the championship opportunity. We had like 7 or 8 people in the ring. It was really a really fun match when they did it in Jacksonville as well. But Roddy Strong, for me, is the one member of the Undisputed Kingdom that has held credibility. I'm going to say that he's held credibility in the group that's gone kind of fell flat on its face since we had the big reveal at World's End. It was never going to go well because MJF has been out injured. Adam Cole is already injured, who was the devil. Wardlow has been booked like Wardlow. Unfortunately, that's what's happened. It's not gone very well for Wardlow, unfortunately. And, well, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, not on TV a lot. They seem to accompany Roderick Strong more than anything. So I guess to do the stuff in Ring of Honor, which sadly for everybody, I don't watch, so I don't comment on it. But look, it's going to be a fantastic match. Roderick Strong for me is doing some of the best work of his career. Will Ospreay has 5-star matches for fun. I've got no doubt this has got potential to be match of the night. However, I'm going to make the prediction. I think Will Ospreay, that's right, I think he will be walking away as the international champion from Roderick Strong. I think they're going back to the drawing board with this group, looking how they're going to do the direction and make things go moving forward. And again, I'll say what I want at the end of this, but I don't think it's happening. Like I say, I think Will Ospreay is winning this. I think he'll be just defending the international championship at the UK All-In show at Wembley Stadium. I think at the moment, something like Zack Sabre Jr. Could be the direction they could go in because Zack Sabre wasn't involved on it last year. Obviously, Will Ospreay wasn't all elite. They did the show at Wembley last year, but I think they want to get Zack Sabre on the card this year. And I actually think potentially Swerve Strickland, if he remains AEW World Champion, I think he will be taken on Hangman Adam Page. That's my thoughts at this particular time anyway. So I'll tell you what I want quickly with this match. I'll just pull up right away. If Will Ospreay was to go for the World Championship, I'd like Adam Cole to actually be cleared and help Roddy Strong retain, because we've seen Wardlow do everything this week. I think he's going to fail when it comes to this Saturday. I'd like actually to be that Adam Cole helps, and then we can get Adam Cole versus Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door or a show moving forward. But I don't know if Adam Cole is anywhere near recovery at this point, so it's then something I would predict. I'm going to go for Will Ospreay. I think it's the safe prediction to do. Let's go into the comments at the moment. I'm asking from Roger, what do I think will be the best match of the night? I think that one potentially could be. I'm quite looking forward to the TNT Championship, if I'm honest. I think that's going to be a pretty awesome match between Malakai Black and Adam Copeland. Every Douglas says that Wardlow should go to WWE. I agree wholeheartedly. I do think that that's something that I'd like to see happen at some point in the future. Just going back to the last match as well. Zane thinks that Mercedes Moné will win, and CD says that, of course, it's Mercedes' first match. Just can't see her losing. To agree with that, indeed. Any comments that I do miss, I will try and keep on point to topic, and I will try and come back to them. So don't worry, I've not forgotten you all. But let's move on to what should be an interesting topic for debate. An IWGP World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator match. That's right, I said Eliminator match, everybody. Konesuke Takeshita is not getting the championship shot against Jon Moxley on this show. Eliminator matches happen, and they, for me, are pretty much what happened in WWE, where you had like the challenger go for it. If they win it, they get a championship opportunity at a later date. I know this is a Ring of Honor thing. First, for those that are watching this, I know Ring of Honor did this a lot back in the day. AEW's adopted that moniker, and I think fair play to them for doing so. However, when I've seen this in AEW, I don't think the person in this match has ever won. It's always the champion that wins. So it always makes me think, well, what's the point? And I also think with this, when I look with this show, if Takeshita's going to lose, what's the point? You might as well just put the title on the line. Takeshita loses, and then Moxley moves on to Forbidden Door against somebody else. That's what they should do. However, I'm going to actually say Takeshita wins. Because I think it's the only way it makes sense, first off. And secondly, we looked at Dynamite this past week, and of course, Don Callis, I mentioned Don Callis fan, by the way, has Will Ospreay in his camp, current babyface, has Takeshita in his camp, current heel. We're going to talk more about Callis in a couple of minutes as well. But yeah, I mean, Moxley came down after Takeshita won his match against Matt Sydal. There was like a beat down afterwards. Moxley came out, confronted Takeshita in the ring, and then basically knocked him out with the microphone. In my personal opinion, Moxley then actually has the 50-50 booking going to this show. And I just think to myself, if you can take this over to Forbidden Door, this could be kind of interesting then, because Moxley's faced almost everybody who is to face in New Japan. Takeshita going for the title at Forbidden Door could be quite fun, because it's forbidden in a way, if that makes sense, because AEW are kind of holding that championship hostage, and in return, perhaps someone from New Japan can go for the AEW World Championship. I just think that could be a fun little twist instead. So yeah, Takeshita is going to be my personal pick here. Actually, CD agrees with me as well. He's got Takeshita winning, because if you want, the championship will not be on the line. Moxley would just win. And like I say, the champions usually win here, so it just makes sense really that Takeshita must win this match. So that's why I think, Eric, it's not going to be for the title. But I've mentioned Don Callis family. Let's wrap all of the Don Callis family up in one, because he has a new client. Sort of. Orange Cassidy going to be taking on Trent Beretta. A match, to be honest, I'm not overly excited for. However, what I will say in a positive note about this match, I actually thought the breakup of this was done exceptionally. You know how we have the big hug with everybody, and then Beretta just did the running knee. That was awesome. That was really well done. They then had the build as well, where they did Beretta versus Chucky Taylor as well. They did the parking lot match as well. Chucky Taylor now can't compete ever again. Gets the heel heat for Beretta. Good stuff. Good stuff. I feel sorry for Chuck Taylor if that is legitimate. It's not storyline related, so it's a shame. Even more of a shame as well that the platform that Chucky Taylor would probably have to retire on, because I believe it was Rampage, not even Collision or Dynamite. But still, I rest my case on it. They did this match once, though, Orange Cassidy and Beretta. And the thing that I'm disappointed about is this match does not have a stipulation. I understand we have Anarchy in the arena. I understand we've got a barbed wire steel cage match, but I just think this circumstance has more become a blood feud, and I think it would have made sense to have a stipulation. However, I think Don Callis is going to be at ringside. You can guess where I'm going to go with this. He's had his arm around Orange Cassidy for the last few weeks, probably putting stuff in his ear. I think it's a swerve. I think he's going to cost Orange Cassidy the match, and I think the actual person he's been scouting, the actual person joining the Don Callis family, is going to be none other than Trent Beretta, because, well, People say that Don Callis is a carny piece of S word, and to be fair, a leopard doesn't change his spots. So, the only one that has actually turned in this situation is Trent Beretta. So I think Beretta will be the one picking up the victory. Just looking for this one as well. Could Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta have a double turn with Cassidy joining up with Don Callis? I mean, that would be very interesting. I'd actually wouldn't mind seeing an Orange Cassidy heel turn in AEW, something we haven't seen. Just how the gimmick would work as well, because he's already lazy. How much more lazy can he be as a heel? I suppose he could be more cowardly rather than actually lazy as a heel, I guess could be the direction they could go. So the only thing for me is, though, I think people want to cheer Orange Cassidy. I don't really feel the vibe of wanting to cheer Trent Beretta. And he's a good performer, Trent Beretta, but I don't know. I'm not really so invested, but I just feel he's the kind of guy that I think will end up with the Don Callis family. But CD has actually gone for Cassidy to win the match as well, with Don Callis helping him or not. Aaron Douglas thinks we'll get Ospreay versus Moxley at Forbidden Door. Damn, that's a good match idea, Eric. I like your thinking. That's a good idea indeed. If you're all enjoying them, make sure to hit the like button, share with a friend, and subscribers. But don't forget, you can add some comments in as well. I will come to them all eventually, but I want to make sure we get through the predictions in a good time as well first. Let's move on then to the AEW Women's World Championship. We've got Timeless Toni Storm. Will be taking on Serena Deeb. For me, honestly, this one, I'm not as invested as I should be. I think Toni Storm is marvelous, by the way. The character work, everything that she says is hilarious. And I think as well, the story of Mariah May as well is working pretty darn well. Serena Deeb, so glad to see her back in action. So glad that she has overcome everything. So glad that she's getting opportunity on a big stage. But you can't help but feel this is just going to be a filler feud once again. I feel Toni Storm's been in a few of these recently, and I don't think this title is dropping until, as Eric said earlier on in the comments, potentially a Jamie Hayter return could make a lot of sense. However, I do feel things could get interesting at starting at Forbidden Door, because I think with the storyline going on with Mariah May, I think Mariah May could be the current all-in opponent, because if we don't know the status with Jamie Hayter, if she's not due back for a long time, Mariah May opportunity would make a lot of sense of her being from the UK. And obviously, we have to keep in mind the fact that from Stardom, Mina Shirakawa, I hope I've said that right. I probably butchered that, so apologies. Shirakawa, there we go. She's been around in AEW recently, helping Mariah May in circumstances. We've seen a few kisses going on as well. Don't know what's going on there, but I know they were a team in Stardom, and there could be some jealousy factor kicking in from Toni Storm. So I can see that being a match at Forbidden Door, and I can see Mariah May being put in the middle, perhaps special guest referee. That would be a lot of fun. And then hopefully that could start building to Timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May for All In. I think that would be the first time then I think that Toni Storm could actually become vulnerable. But for the meantime, I have Toni Storm retaining. But shout out to Sid Rhodes, who actually has Deeb for the win. Loving that prediction there, because that's a bold prediction in my opinion, and certainly would shake things up in the women's division for sure. It could even give an idea to actually start a rivalry with Mariah May and Toni Storm, because Toni Storm would probably blame everybody the second she loses that championship. Selection says that Serena Deeb just turned babyface to feud with Timeless Toni Storm, and technically felt like a heel on Dynamite this past week, attacking Toni with the shoe. Everyone was booing Serena Deeb, who I think is meant to be the face in this scenario. I think just roll with it. If Deeb is being booed, let her be the actual heel in the match is what I would say. But yeah, it's an interesting one to say the very least. We move on into the FTW Championship. We've got the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho versus Hook versus Katsuyori Shibata. Look, I'm going to say something controversial here. Jericho's done it again. The Learning Tree for me, at first I thought, oh, here we go. It's actually working. I'm actually invested in it, and I actually love the idea that Big Bill is in the corner of Chris Jericho. I feel very sorry for Ricky Starks, though. Where's Ricky Starks at? He said he's not on TV currently, and I want to know why. I actually want to see Starks on my screen, and I like the team with Big Bill as well. Just put Starks in with this group. I don't know. Or just let Starks break out and just be a single star, because that's what he probably could go to the top, just like Swerve did. But anyway, I'm starting to get a little bit off topic here. As I said, the FTW Championship now for the World Championship, Chris Jericho going against Hook and Shibata. The other two have been kind of feuding with Jericho now for a little while. Obviously, Hook lost the championship at Dynasty, or Dynasty as I prefer to Chris Jericho. The one thing I'm not sure, it just says the championship, doesn't say FTW rules, so I'm not sure if there's any hardcore element in this or not. I suppose we'll see when the match goes down. But to make a long story short, I think Jericho retains here. I think Shibata's the one taking the pinfall, and I think we're going to build potentially Jericho versus Hook for the next show, or potentially for a Dynamite special. I can see that going down. Or Jericho does for the World Championship at Forbidden Door against someone else. But I think Jericho is going to retain here. That's what I'd have at this moment. Seeing here, just going back to Toni Storm, says is getting cheered because of her character work, and that ain't Serena's Deeb before. No, it's not. I mean, to be fair, Toni Storm is she's bloody hilarious, and that's why I think it's an awesome thing. But didn't Bryan Rice have a learning tree in TNA? I think it's something along that line. It may even been legend, but unfortunately, my memory is not that good when it comes to that, unfortunately. But Bryan Myers definitely had something along that line going on. But CD does have Jericho retaining here. Too early for him to lose it. I do agree with that. Eric Douglas has Hook to win. In the long game, Eric, I agree with you. But unfortunately, Double or Nothing just is a bit too soon for me. Thankfully, I think we're going to go into some of the bigger matches now. What I think is one of the big matches of this show. Really looking forward to this. The TNT Championship barbed wire steel cage match. Adam Copeland against Malakai Black. Hopefully there's not as much blood in the ring as there was this week on AEW Dynamite, although it's kind of a cool visual and certainly better than the WCW Thunder days where Nash was just completely missed. I don't know if he was not standing on the X or whatever it was, but he completely missed. It's hilarious. Look it up on YouTube, Google it, network it, whatever you need to do. However, on this match in particular, obviously this started being built with Malakai Black actually got the pinfall over Adam Copeland in the 6-man tag team match at Dynasty, and obviously we continue the feud on, and Edge has had some banger matches with Buddy Matthews and Brody King as well. And you know what? I just think that Adam Copeland is having some awesome matches in AEW. I'm really enjoying the work he's doing, and I think this with Malakai Black is going to be amazing. Well, the storyline element with the steel cage, the barbed wire, you just know it's going to be gruesome, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be violent. It's going to be cool. Let's be fair. I'd love to see a Gangrel appearance. I'd love to see a Brood style Adam Copeland as well. Maybe that was the tease this past week. We do think we're getting a bit more of a possessed Adam Copeland at this stage. But I've got Copeland for the win currently. But this is one match I wouldn't be surprised if a championship changed hands, just purely because all those rumors that Malakai Black won't take a pinfall. However, I think he would against Adam Copeland. The respect factor is there. One of the GOATs Adam Copeland is, and I'm sure with the talents that Adam Copeland wants to work with, I think all of them will be saying yes. And I think if they are asked to put their shoulders to the mat, don't think they'll be saying no, and I think Malakai Black will not be saying no. So I've got Copeland for the victory here. I'm interested to see where Copeland's direction goes into the summer as well for Malakai Black as well, in that matter of fact. Let's go to the comments then. And so we've got, say, a little bit behind on some of them, so I'll bring them up here. I feel like Hook should win back the FTW Championship at a later date and then retire the championship. Do you know, it's not a bad shout, to be fair, because I think even Taz would be worried at this point. Now Chris Jericho's altered the championship. I wouldn't be surprised if that was an idea that was done. So yeah, that's quite, I'm kind of on board with that if that was to actually happen. We've got here now, this may just be me, but I feel the AEW TNT Championship is back to the second belt in AEW after Adam Copeland has made it, will have that championship, have the prestige again. I agree with you. I think the International Championship has taken a slight backseat, mainly because I think a lot of the work of it's been done on Collision or Rampage, or I don't know. It feels like that for me. I'm mainly a Dynamite watcher. I think I can say that safely 23 minutes into a stream. Anyone on delay is not going to be like upsetting me at this point. I mainly watch Dynamite. I tend to keep up what's going on elsewhere, but I don't always have the time to watch it. So the stuff I've seen with Adam Copeland, for example, the TNT title, most of it's been on Dynamite. So I've actually had the luxury to enjoy it. And I would agree the work he's done has really added prestige back to that championship. But I do think Christian Cage did great work with that championship as well. I think it's been a collective effort over the last 6 months to bring this belt back to prominence. Aaron Douglas says Malakai Black wins because Christian interference. I guess Christian Cage just can't live with the idea that Adam Copeland is the champion. But I'd hope Christian Cage would be focusing on his match later in the evening. I do hope that would be the case, but let's see how it will be. I've had a couple of questions about SummerSlam being 2 nights in 2026. I'll do you all a favor. I will close the video on that topic. So Eric and Byron asked that earlier on. I will be answering at the very end of the video. I like to keep things just with the predictions for the time being, if that's okay. I see this is we're getting Brood Copeland, and that's how Copeland retains the TNT Championship. I think that could be a sensible shout as well. Let's move on. In the meantime, we've got 3 matches to go, and I said to you it wasn't going to be my main event on this stream, but it will be a main event probably on Sunday evening. Anarchy in the Arena, the Elite, of course, Scapegoat Jack Perry, the Young Bucks as Kazuchika Okada, going against Team AEW. Of course, we had FTR, we have Darby Allin and Bryan Danielson. Did have Eddie Kingston, but of course he was injured on a New Japan visit, which of course did feature the Young Bucks as well, and I believe Scapegoat Jack Perry also making the attack. I am expecting the Elite to be against New Japan in some format at Forbidden Door. The fact they have Okada on their side as well, I think could be quite fun for everything. But anyway, about Forbidden Door, we're talking about Double or Nothing. One interesting thrown together team, by the way, Team AEW is FTR, Bryan Danielson, and Darby Allin. Of course, Bryan Danielson, a part of the Blackpool Combat Club, when he feels like it. We've got FTR, which, okay, I can understand being to AEW. And Darby Allin, yes, Team AEW. I've not got a problem with that part in the view because of the fact I do understand he loves AEW. He's said on numerous occasions this is the company he wants to work for, who he only cares about working for because he's got a great relationship with Tony Khan, changed his life, he's worked with Sting. Get all of that. Didn't Jay White break your ankle? Just saying. Why are you not going for Jay White? I don't get that. That makes no sense to me. And poor Jay White, the continued bad booking he has, but thankfully he's the next match I'm going to talk about. It was originally the segue I was going to do, but I couldn't hold it in. I couldn't control myself. But still, going into the match though, Anarchy in the Arena has been a fun time each and every year that they've done it. I think it's definitely the best way to do it these days instead of Stadium Stampede. When you're doing this in Vegas, save Stadium Stampede for Wembley, I guess, because that's when you are in the stadium. Excuse me, I need a little water break. Hold on. Apologies. Right. And yeah, I think that makes the most sense. I think this stipulation works. And I do think the idea of the Elite versus Team AEW works in the long run. I know the Elite have been working on the numbers advantage as well. FTR were taken out on Collision. They attempt to take out Bryan Danielson, of course, on Dynamite this past week. Darby Allin was barred from the arena. Of course, Tony Khan made sure that Darby Allin could get in the arena. And then, wow. All hell broke loose. Let's just say that. And the babyfaces came out on top, of course, with the what was that, the fire gun thing that Darby Allin had. But for me, going to a prediction for this show, I'm going to go for the Elite to pick up the victory. I think this is the starting point where it goes to blood and guts, and I think that will take place in the summer. Possibly another member to each side. We'll have to wait and see. It's been 5-on-5 for the last couple of years. Eddie Kingston can make the return, for example, if he's fit in time. A new member for the Elite as well wouldn't be a bad idea either. But I think the Elite will pick up the W here. And yeah, like I say, this will be saved then for another day. Let's go into the comments then. And I love this comment from Sid here. Do you think Tony Khan will interfere in this match? I don't think so. He said he would never do it, put it that way. So if he does, he's really gone against his word. However, he is where a lot of this started because, of course, let's go just a bit of the story that I've probably not mentioned, which is probably key, really. These guys attacked Tony Khan, didn't they? We had the Meltzer driver that was done, or the 5-star driver, what they're calling it these days, to Tony Khan, and that wrote him off. And of course, then the Young Bucks have taken over AEW over recent weeks, which has led to a number of the decisions we've had going into this show as well, which is why we've got Team AEW versus the Elite. Of course, that makes the most sense. In a way, it makes sense for Tony Khan to get involved in some way, but I think pretty much doing cosplay as Trent Beretta's mum Sue, just doing the pull up in the car and giving the fist bump to Darby Allin, I think that's enough of an impact as it is. I think that Tony Khan being an Anarchy in the Arena environment is not safe for the dude, and he's not a trained professional wrestler. So yeah, I am going to be saying that I don't think he will intervene, but maybe he will come back though to say that we will get blood and guts, or he'll start making his presence seen on AEW and try and get his company back on his side. Make it as elite as it should be and not this elite. But Eric says, I have the Elite with Jack pinning Darby. That would be pretty cool as an idea. I think Jack winning actually would make a lot of sense actually at this point. He's got a lot of heat since coming back. Signature says Darby Allin shouldn't be in this match. He ain't 100%. It's Darby Allin though, isn't he? He's going to jump off a balcony or do something stupid. It's crazy. I suppose the other note of why it makes sense for Darby to be in this match was that he and Sting were the match against the Young Bucks just recently. So plenty of experience against the Young Bucks, of course, in Sting's last match and how they tried to get rid of him. So there is notes that make sense for Darby, and I just feel sorry for Jay White. That's pretty much it. But Sid shouldn't. has Team AEW winning because this is Darby's first match back in AEW. And you did go on to mention as well about the history there with the Elite and the Young Bucks as well with Sting and Darby. And so there you go. But I think AEW forgot Jay White was injured Darby. And I seem to forget a lot when it comes to Jay White, unfortunately. And I'm not really a fan of that. Quickly going in here, and yeah, Tony Khan also said he wouldn't sign every WWE wrestler who got fired, and he's pretty much done that. Not Shelton Benjamin, and I watched the Max Caster interview on Chris Van Vliet earlier on today, and I heard some very interesting remarks of why he wouldn't want Shelton Benjamin there. Look at me promoting other material. It's definitely worth a listen. It's a good interview. Right, we'll move on. In the meantime, I mentioned Jay White. So let's talk about the Bang Bang Gang. That's right. It's no longer Bullet Club Gold. It will be Jay White and the Guns taking on the returning Death Triangle. That's right. Pac, of course, Penta, El Cerro Miedo, and Rey Fenix. Really looking forward to this trios match just because, first off, fantastic news for Jay White. He's back on a pay-per-view. Please don't bump this to the pre-show, to whatever it is they call it these days, the buy-in, because he's been on the last two pay-per-views. He's been on buy-ins, and I just think it's a bit criminal for someone of Jay White's talent, personally. But it's been 3-on-1 on Pac. Obviously, they've made Pac care by brutal attacks and beatings and all stuff that's been going on. And Pac has now not wanted to bring back the Lucha Bros for Death Triangle, but I suppose he's been left with no choice to do with the numbers disadvantage. I think the match is going to be awesome. I mean, I love Death Triangle. I want to see him win the gold, really, because I just think they're a very credible trios team, and I want to see Jay White being unleashed into the singles division. However, I do have Bullet Club Gold, or should I say the Bang Bang Gang now, picking up the victory. That's my actual prediction for this match. Let's go. Oh, hang on. Let's quickly go into this question. Why are the Bang Bang Gang holding the Acclaim's custom-made AEW Trios Championship still? I don't know, but I think it makes them look like they have a lot of goals. So basically, the Bang Bang Gang have held like 3 different sets of Trios Championships because they're the unified champions. They have the actual championships from AEW, the Acclaim's custom championships, and the Ring of Honor championships. Can we just make one championship? Although it was kind of fun just seeing them will 9 championships to the ring this past week. It's like we have so much gold, we're awesome, but it is one. It feels like it's 2 championships. It feels like one because I don't really follow Ring of Honor anymore. And to be honest, yeah, it's what it is. It's what it is, unfortunately. But we'll move on in the meantime to what I will claim to be the main event of this show. It won't be, but it's what I want it to be the main event. The AEW World Championship, Swerve Strickland going against Christian Cage. And can I say the British side of me gets really happy when I hear that All In is still a reason for a rivalry 9 months later. These two were teammates and lost the coffee match to Sting and Darby at Wembley Stadium, which was a fun time, by the way. Really enjoyed the match when I was in attendance. But the fact we have this now make a rivalry with these guys is pretty darn cool. And of course, Swerve Strickland did attack Nick Wayne, didn't he, around that time? Left him in a bloody mess. And of course, Nick Wayne is now kind of Christian Cage's son, if you want, in storyline terms. So Christian wanted to get some revenge on that. And of course, we've seen, the Mogul Embassy, turn on Swerve Strickland in this time. We've seen, obviously, Prince Nana being taken out as well. So Swerve's kind of been on his own now with Christian's group, which has led to a couple of beatdowns as well. Obviously, Swerve losing a dread also. But this past week on AEW, I really enjoyed what they did there with the beatdown, the running backstage as well, where Swerve had overcome the group, chase Christian Cage to the back, go into the parking lot. Of course, just as Christian steals that motor, looks to get away. Obviously, Nana swerves in, stops him driving away, makes the big return, gets the big pop. And of course, then there was the beatdown on the top of the car as well, the DDT before Christian managed to run away. Just brilliant stuff. A lot of fun. Really looking forward to this match. I think it's been one of the better stories going into this show. Look, I'm not going to surprise anybody when I say this. Swerve Strickland, for me, is the guy that I think will be retaining the championship. I think it makes the most sense here. Forbidden Door will be a lot of fun. Swerve Strickland versus someone from New Japan for the AEW World Championship. And as I said earlier in this video, I think that Swerve is keeping this championship certainly to All In, as they treat it like the biggest show at the moment. They make it seem like the biggest deal. I think it's going to be Swerve versus Hangman. I think Hangman will return by that point because Hangman cannot deal with the idea of Swerve being champion. This storyline then would have gone on for nearly a year. Would kind of feel main event worthy for All In my opinion. As I said, I think Will Ospreay as international champion can do the New Japan stuff because he still wants to do that. He still can then do maybe an odd UK appearance as well with that championship because he can do what Pac did when Pac first had the championship. And I just think when it comes to the international championship, he can defend it against someone British at All In. And I think Zack Sabre Jr. is the one that stands out, but maybe Michael Oko as well, someone that's on the Rev Pro scene. They've had killer matches with Ospreay as well. Could be someone that could be booked in for that show as like a breakout performance and appearance, because those two have had some 5-star matches, let's just say. Probably even Meltzer would rate him higher, to be fair than that. So that's what I think for All In, and that's what I think for this show for Double or Nothing. So that's my predictions there of all 10 matches. Let's go into the comments and see what we've all got to say, and then we'll wrap things up in about, 10, 12 minutes or so, probably at this point. So, in my opinion, says CD, less championships for AEW is better. I agree. There's far too many of them. I think there's too many championships. And, I mean, it's great for this show. You know, a lot of matches feel quite important when they have those championships. But I think that when you have, like, the Ring of Honor stuff brought into it, it just becomes overkill. And now you've got custom championships being carried, like you said, especially with, you know, the Bang Bang Gang as well. It becomes a bit overkill for me. It's thirsty work doing this on your own. You don't have the chance to give you some noise whilst doing that, unfortunately. Cage will win. I hope he does win, says Sid. Would like to see a new champion. Of course, I always go with the 50-50 booking usually, so judging off Dynamite, Cage would be the one that should be winning, but I still have Swerve actually doing getting the W here. I feel like Swerve doesn't lose until the end of the year at least. I think you could be right, Eric. For me, at the moment, I've gone as far as All In the fantasy booking world. We'll see what happens later on, but I do feel like there are so many top talents now in AEW. I think it's going to start getting harder and harder for AEW to have year-long reign championship runs. And I think we've seen that with Samoa Joe. He's had like 3-4 months. Swerve's now got his time now. If he can avoid Will Ospreay for All In, I can see Swerve, like you saying, they're having a longer reign, but let's see how it will go. Eric also says that Swerve is way too over. I do think he's way too over at this moment. Sinister says Bullet Club Gold would still look sick with 2 belts. I mean, to be fair, that would make the most sense at this point. But yeah, they're carrying 3. And to be fair, it's almost too many to carry. They don't know what to do with them. It's not quite Ultimate Dragon, though, let's be fair at this point. Sinister says, think of it like this. That's like having The Rock having the WWF Championship, WCW Championship, and Stone Cold Steve Austin's custom-made belt back in the day. Yeah, you make a very good point, and I can't argue with that whatsoever. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well. We'll be discussing SummerSlam in a couple of moments' time. I just want to see if there is any comments in particular that were questions that were earlier on in this stream that I may have missed. There is a chance I still might miss them now. If I do, then I do apologize. But I have seen that most of the questions that I've missed actually are to do with SummerSlam. So let's quickly just go to the new comments. Who is the greatest wrestler in AEW? That's a very big question, because greatest goes in different categories. You can say with what they've done in their career, best 5-star matches, you know, it all comes down, I think, to subjective. I think that many people would say Bryan Danielson probably is the correct answer. For me right now, I do tip the scale currently with Ospreay's favor, because I just think every match I watch of his is insane, but Danielson has done it for a longer period. But when you look at the likes of Chris Jericho, he's been there, done it for about, 25, 30 odd years, and continues to reinvent himself. Maybe doesn't start his best work, his best days are behind him, but still at the same time, I would argue that, you know, he is someone that would be in the conversation for that. So yeah, I think it's pick your favorite of how you want to put it. But I'd say Jericho if you're going for longevity. I think Danielson if you're going for in-ring quality, longevity. If you're going for just my personal right now, I think it's the greatest wrestler in there right now. I think it's Will Ospreay. That's me personally. C Nation says Bang Bang Gang should retire the Cranes Custom Made Championship soon. I would like to see that as well. Eric says that Roman still carried all 3 belts. He did do that for a little while. He did do that. It's a very good point. Thankfully, he did stop doing that eventually. Right, okay, we're at the 38-minute mark in the video. We'll do then the question that everyone wants to answer. So I'm going to try and do this in a format where I can take this later, steal it, and use it as a short. That's pretty much my idea here. So let's see if I can do that or not. But if not, we're going to run with it anyway. You're going to get the answer on here, and you can enjoy it. So the breaking news coming out is that Minneapolis will finally get their 2-night event. It'll be in 2026, though, not WrestleMania next year. SummerSlam is going to be a 2 night event in 2026, which will be the first time ever, according to Triple H, which does mean that this year's SummerSlam will continue to be a one-night event. And it also means that, of course, next year will probably be a one-night event as well. My reaction to this is that I think it's awesome for Minnesota to get this show. I also think that SummerSlam, it's one of the biggest shows of the year. To do it for the weekend, I think will be a lot of fun for WWE. Adds emphasis, adds prestige, adds importance to SummerSlam, which isn't on some of the other shows. I think the B-level shows should remain as one night. However, I see the Royal Rumble and I think Survivor Series also should become two-night events, especially when you have two Royal Rumble matches on the same night. You can have one on each night, and I think as well Survivor Series, the same with War Games. For me personally, I think it's an awesome thing. I think we'll get more wrestling, more people get on the card. The only thing that's going to suck, I think ticket prices are going to go up. So there we go. That's me trying to do it in a short format for you. Let's see if that actually worked or not. But what I will say is I will see if there's anything else that you want me to talk about it. But yeah, I think personally it will be good doing this, and let's see how it's going to play out. But like I say, I think Royal Rumble Survivor Series will join it in the long term. But Sid says I hate them because of the UK time. I understand it from a UK perspective. I think it can be a bit heavy when it comes to WrestleMania sometimes, but I think if you do it for just the big four shows, I think if you do it for every show, it becomes too much. But yeah, as C Nation said here, WWE are planning 2 years ahead is insane. Look, the money's been put on the table, and they probably said, look, you've lost out on WrestleMania. We're looking to this for other events. Maybe in Minnesota, the weather is something that I think was something speculated to do it for SummerSlam. I think is what's going to help it. And I think that that's why they've done this here. And as I said, I think SummerSlam is probably the one show that a lot of people would say, well, that's just like WrestleMania. It doesn't need to have its 2 nights. But if you look at the performance and you look at the way that Triple H is booking shows, it is becoming a situation where we're having like 4 or 5 matches per PLE. And if we want to get matches and rivalries and stuff sorted long term, we need to either have longer shows, which some people are in favor of. I myself, not so much. I don't like sitting there for 5-6 hours watching a PLE. I'd much rather watch 2 shorter versions of a PLE because it then feels like it's a lighter watch. And then you've got night 1, night 2, 5 matches on each, 10 matches. All of a sudden, more performers have a chance to perform on a big stage in front of people. And I don't think that that is a bad thing. So I think that's only great for the performers. As I say, ticket prices, I think, are going to hurt it just a little bit because ticket prices are going higher and higher. You can see with the international market what WWE is trying to do because, look, we don't come to you very often, and also means that we're not in America as often as we was, so those ticket prices are going to go higher. They're looking to break records all the time. It's only going to get more, and the fact that they're now going to make this a 2-night event as well means it's going to sting a lot of people in the pocket. But apart from that, because I'm not going to be going to SummerSlam in 2026, I don't think, at this time at moment. Sorry, Minneapolis, I don't think I'll be going. It's a long distance for me, but I think it'll be great for entertainment value for me sitting at home. So for me, I look at it quite positively at this particular time. But CD, I can see that you wish it was just WrestleMania kept as 2 nights only. I just think it's going to be the future. NXT, I want to give a shout out to NXT because you've all been here for a while. Everyone I know is watching right now. You know, he's been saying this for about a year to 2 years on this channel about these events becoming 2-night events. He's been calling it for a long, long time. It looks like it's happening. So shout out to NXT for giving that prediction a long time. It's coming to fruition. And for me, of all of them, I want the Royal Rumble to become a 2-night event because, like I say, the Royal Rumble match twice in one night is quite heavy, but it's also a lot of fun. But I think it will happen with the big 4. That's what I think will happen. But that's just me. But CD still says WrestleMania only. But yeah, at least make it only big 4. Yeah, I mean, if they start doing it with Backlash, for example, for a 2-night event, yes, it's great. For example, if you get it in an international market, but the ticket prices are extortionate as it is for that market already. So I don't think they'll be too good for it, really. But Rogers is probably asleep in the UK, but there's always the next day. But I understand for Sundays, not so easy on a Monday. I understand that. So yeah, it's what it is. For me, that's how I have to do it. You have to do it the next day a lot of the time these days. I'm an hour ahead of you in the UK with my time zone, so I can say it definitely does sting to try and sit and watch these live. But at the same time, next day always makes it fun. But I'm going to wrap things up there, everyone. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being a part of this video as well. The chat's kept me busy for the last 43 minutes. I thank all of you for being involved. Keep an eye on the channel as well. I'm going to try and drop some shorts, going to try and drop some more videos, and also going to look to get a review, certainly for the WWE show King and Queen of the Ring this weekend. But we'll see if Double or Nothing can be possible as well. Thank you all for watching. Look after each other. Make sure to please like the video, and if you get a chance, drop a comment at the end of the video. Thank you, CD. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and thank you, everyone, watching on delay as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy Double or Nothing. I'll see you for the next video.